Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes I feel guilty having to interrupt GQ's excellent program and he's entertaining the public, but that's how the program is set up. So sorry about that. Let's hope that you can learn something from and enjoy Frank and Candid today, Friday, 30th. Yes, Friday, 30th October, 2020. Imagine tomorrow is the end of the month. When we come again on Monday, we would have already entered November. And importantly, we want to talk a little bit about the borders would have been reopened. Let's give God thanks for another week, another lovely week, another lovely day. And so we sing, thank you, Lord, for one more day. All right, so it seems to indicate that we're going to have a very interesting weekend. Let's hope everybody does what he or she is expected to do. Let's hope every man, Jack, every woman, Jill, every child does what she is required to do to keep St. Kitts and Nevis continually free of COVID-19. That individuals who return, they accept the conditions under which they agreed to, and in doing so, we ensure that there is no spread, there is no contamination, there is no epidemic of COVID here in our federation. A lot of us are very, very much concerned about the real possibility. I don't think it's inevitable, the way some people speak, that we're going to have new cases and we're going to have a new wave and so on. I do not subscribe to that view, that it is a must that we have to be affected by numbers of cases because we're opening the border. I might be naive in that thinking, but it is my firm belief that if we continue to, or if we engage in certain behaviors, if we adopt certain practices, if we pursue certain policies, we can remain free of COVID. In fact, there are other islands, I think they're all islands, there are other islands in the world who are still COVID free. Why can't we be numbered among them? Alright, so that's something I want us to talk about today on this open line, because the guests that I had booked have indicated, that they are no longer available. They will prefer to come sometime next week. So we have another opportunity to openly discuss freely what is on our minds. I'd like us to talk a little bit about, to what extent do you think St. Kitts is prepared for the so-called reopening of the borders? What are your concerns? What are your fears, if any? What are your expectations? What are your plans now that St. Kitts and Nevis will again throw its doors open to the world at large, in a manner of speaking, and soon we'll be seeing regular commercial flights bringing in passengers, including local residents, local citizens, and visitors. And later in the year, the tourist ships, the cruise ships should be returning, and so what used to obtain before, some semblance of it is expected to return, not in its full strength, not in either the extent nor scope that it operated pre-COVID, but we expect to return to what some like to refer to as some semblance of normalcy, or normality, as my friend would question. So, ladies and gentlemen, talk to us here on Frank and Candid this morning at the end of the week, the end of the month of October. When we meet again, like I said, the borders would have reopened. What are your feelings? What are your beliefs? What are your expectations? What are your desires? Let's take this first caller and welcome him or her to Frank and Candid. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Blake, as usual.
All right.
And I'm treading so close behind you that no breeze can blow between me and you.
Okay, then.
With the decisions that you are taking and the approach of this COVID behavior and the opening of our borders.
Okay.
Yes, we will get corona cases here after the borders open, because we are not exception. And so therefore we just have to do what the those on the front line, the advisors are saying, giving us. All we have to do is listen and look beyond today and see what could happen tomorrow. If we just play ignorant and foolish and careless and don't care about nobody else and see what would happen, all we have to do is to comply.
Listen, tell me what you think. Is there any of the requirements that is really difficult to follow?
None.
I'm looking and wondering which one or ones of the regulations that we are asked to abide by, which one of the requirements we are being invited, we are being asked to follow is difficult to adopt?
None of them, Brother Blake. The only thing I would say concerning the admonish that we've been getting is a kind of uncomfortable and boredom to some people, is when you have to be quarantined for 14 days. And that there is what you call a minor, minor matters.
Okay, minor matter.
If you go in the forest, go hunt, and you get lost, and nobody could find you, and you walk in until you could find a way to escape, you have to tolerate where you are and learn to adjust to it until somebody find you. You wouldn't dead. As long as you could breathe oxygen in your nose and you are living. Just don't let the problem, don't let the matter be any big problem on your mind, otherwise it's going to haunt you. It's going to mess you up. Just like if somebody lose a member of the body, you don't take on that. Move on, because if you take on that, it's going to cause you to study and kill yourself.
And die earlier than you ought.
Right. Now, Brother Blake, I want to touch on something else again, quickly.
Do that.
Now, we know what happened here in St. Kitts 3 Thursdays ago, right on Baker's Corner there with my good friend Simon, and you are a good friend.
I was at his funeral.
All right then, good thing. Now, Simon was innocent of what happened to him. Now, last night, the sun set nowadays at 5:40, 5:19 and all of that.
It set earlier than usual.
Right. And the place dark, and it has a motorcyclist. Every time he passes on his motorcycle, all you could hear, and he ease up, and then you hear. You know why he do?
That's in your area.
Treating the throttle like that, because when he got the handle up in the air, the back wheel underneath on the ground, that has to thrust forward. So when the wheel on the ground thrust forward, the one in the air throw back. So it's able to keep him up in the air with the handle as long as he wants. So that's why he cannot stick the throttle and at one level and go every minute he got to rev up and gas up. But last night, 10 to 6, when he come down from the hill there from Lodge and he come around the big bend down here, throw up his handle in the air and the place, black and dark. Throw up his handle in the air and all he could hear going up the hill by Mount Carmel Baptist Church is brrr, and he ease up. Brrr, and he ease up. I said, look at that ignorance. Suppose he run into somebody's vehicle and knock down somebody. This is night. He don't have no way of doing that. Well, I'm going to say the last thing and I'm going. I want to know who police and how many police have summoned them and pulled them off the road when they see them doing their stupidness. Because I could tell you this, if Miss Rose happened to go up on 4th Street today, just from 2 to 3:30, the amount of them she will catch with a motorcycle doing ignorance, people will be surprised. We will want to know if it's only one police that see them doing it. Thank you, Brother Blake. I'll come back if any more issue I have.
Okay, thank you. We wonder if we will ever get resolution to this problem. We really wonder. You know, someone is suggesting the police force needs to establish a motorcycle squad, an anti-motorcycle squad, if you wish, to deal specifically with that matter. I don't know how practical that is and whether it will receive the kind of results that we require and we deserve. But one would think that when an incident such as what happened to Mr. Simon and in other cases occurs, when those incidents occur, that people will learn their lesson, that those will be teachable moments, and that they would adjust their behavior accordingly so as to ensure that there is no recurrence, because we're talking people's lives in this case. But no, that is not happening. The motorcycle riders, and some of them are not really youngsters, you know. Some of them are grown. All of them have to be adults in the first place, according to our law, our legal definition. A lot of them are grown men. A lot of them are fathers and perhaps grandfathers, and they engage in this kind of behavior. So you wonder what kind of lessons, what kind of examples, what kind of models they present to younger people. I don't know how we're going to solve that issue. I think it needs a combination of legal and law enforcement officers coming together and trying to work out a solution. The other day we had the discussion. Some person was suggesting we should ban motorcycles, and a lot of people said no, you'll be punishing the innocent along with the guilty. That has been a facet of life since time immemorial. We, the innocent, often pay for the acts of the guilty, and the innocent are almost always the vast majority, but we pay for the sins of the few, the guilty. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Blake. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
I said I need to go in the house and pass a lot for these cycle things. Put up force and ban them. I don't know where they go. I don't get up on the people them. You know, so you circle them fully and knock down people and kill them. You just sometimes a little.
We don't know if it's willful.
Go with the guy, you know?
We don't know if it's willful, but we never had some of these cases before. But we don't have the motorcyclists that are deliberately knocking down people or hurting people. What we know that they are deliberately lifting their wheels off the ground, which is against the law and so on.
I don't know by my boat seeing them doing up to last Friday. I said I'm coming to you.
Right.
I don't fall and broke the back, and the government better put you in something in its place, you know.
And if they fall and break their backs, we still have to be paying a lot of money to take care of them.
In the hospital and they catch themselves. So I want you to hear people and knock off people off a cycle, out the cycle and knock down people.
Yeah, what a shame.
You're crazy. And say government, we want to say, it's 200,000 cycle that number. The aim is that they could ban them.
So what do you think? What do you think could be done?
Everybody is crazy.
What do you think should be done?
Everything gone crazy in this country. I want to give my word for government, and I don't know what you're doing. Been complaining, my culture, everybody complaining. You hear what culture say? The person of culture don't get vexed anyhow we reach that village. Been fully raised everything for culture go here. I used to live in that village, I hardly used to hear when a cycle coming from Lemon Hill come passing me to go up Platch Project. I don't know who running the country. You say, me, you everybody running the country. Next to you soon see him in Parliament. See you because you say, Mr. Blake, is everybody running the country? Nobody on and around the law order, you know. The law order gone out the door. Who running the country really? Me and you. Next time when you see me going up Church Street in midnight, the coat and thing on you have my bag, my business bag. Don't feel no way from a not lady to a business.
Okay then. Alright, thank you. Alright, yes. So as I was saying, I don't know how we're going to solve this issue, but I believe that drastic measures are needed sometimes to deal with serious issues. Serious measures are needed to deal with serious issues. Sometimes you can fight fire with water, but I believe other times you have to fight fire with fire. That is my view. Let's take another caller. Hello, caller. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Morning, sir.
They don't realize why government got to put no laws in place. People don't realize that. People don't work with the government by doing that. But it's to protect people because government, no. Just like fishermen, there are one or two fishermen go by themselves and they should not go.
Mm-hmm.
People just destroy them. So we got to give everything 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because when boat missing, government got the coast guard out there almost a whole week searching, and that is money. They call it gas and everything, you know?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I come in. Yeah. I come in. Yeah, and yes, so that's how we go with the motorbike man and thing, and they behaving themselves. I don't see them, I don't watch them, but I know I'm writing the name, but things go happen to me, and things go happen to them, and things come to other people. Because now the time you go across the road, you see something, you know, sometimes as you go across the road, something on you know. So when these things happen, All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. All we're asking is for the motorcyclists to obey the rules, to obey the laws, and to ride their bikes sensibly, in a manner that does not endanger the lives of others. Whether those others be other drivers or pedestrians. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Blake, I don't know if you
Morning,
could
morning.
recall when Dr. Fosbury was the surgeon at the Joseph and France Hospital.
Yeah, of course.
This Papa wheeling up since in that time. And I could remember every weekend you just could hear a man on a motorcycle was Papa wheeling and getting an accident, whether with a car or something.
Well, I know we used to have there was a point when we used to have a lot of motorcycle
Right,
accidents.
just
But I
this
don't know
Papa
if it was
wheeling,
because of
then just
wheeling.
coming with this, the wheel of a hoist up in the ear just come up.
Really?
And he will, when they go hospital and the nurses them call him, he just tell them, put them, that time they had the TV ward available, put them down in the last ward, down the sometime you go down there, you see them down there on the bed. And he ain't going up there until the Monday to look after them. So I know I have a few schoolmates that lost their life like that.
Mm-hmm.
They suffer with the 1 foot until they dead. I don't know if you remember Larry Kane, that is
of
one, that's a
course.
schoolmate of mine,
Yes.
suffer with the foot until he dead. You understand?
Yes.
So this Papa wheeling ain't just come up. It's here for years. And if they can't hear, who cannot hear will feel. The government have people working for them. And if they give them, if they know the laws, them and they give them, they put out, you just got to follow them. Follow the rules. Everybody just doing as they like because they don't care. But when something happened to them now, you're going to see the parents and you're going to see every family running to get help. Want help from the government. They want this person to help them. I am not blaming the government for nothing. The government put the rules out there because people just break the rules. They set the rules and they break them. So all who want to Papa wheelie could be me own. They're the Papa wheelie because they know where them a Papa wheelie to go. When the time come to go where they want to go, they will reach right there. But they will be hustling themselves. It's only that they're hurting other people.
That is the problem.
That is because look at that gentleman on the crossing in Newtown. I mean, look at it. He gone home. Hustle home. Because of a cycle. I mean, it's not fair. So, you know, when others say about government and government, the government ain't to be blamed. The police they put out, look, they're talking about the mask and nobody studying them with the mask. Now they're going to put on the penalty on them, and you're going to hear a lot of things going on. A lot of things going to say, oh, they could have charged for the people, and they could have this. But they don't tell them about the mask long time. Just watch and see, Mr. Blake.
Okay.
You know who the people them be. You know them. They don't listen. Who can hear will feel. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I don't think anybody's blaming the government for what the motorcyclists are doing. I don't think that is happening at all. What we really, I think the people are suggesting that there need to be firmer penalties for the motorcyclists when they are caught engaged in this behavior. Let's take another caller. Hello.
Good morning, Brother Blake.
Morning, sir.
Remember that Mr. Lynchwood, you said Magistrate Lynchwood tell them that, tell the police then that let the guy ahead because someone themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because according to the last caller there, in them time it used to get like a lot of 1 foot.
Yes, I remember that.
And that's the reason why Magistrate Wade used to tell the police, let the guy ahead because someone themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And Brother Blake, let me tell you, no clever enforcement in this country. People can always criticize and always talk. You hear that the people calling saying this and calling saying that now, what we must do with them? Them are the first one, when they put down the penalty, them are the first one going to start to ball out and start collecting, they shouldn't do it.
Really?
Because I remember when the COVID started first and the countries them was closing down and we had the two first case. A lady, the same female lady we calling. She started one band dance, one not a noise, no COVID in the country. And excluding the country. They want to keep people like a dictator. They want to keep people like a dictator. The COVID in the country, the corona in the country now, and close down the country and all kind of thing. And look, you see, you can't please people. People will always say what they got to say. But when the law enforcement put down the laws now, the penalty, somebody first one wants to cry out. Nobody Blake has something else to say. This morning I was at the hospital. And your people complaining about the hospital put you and at the cashier area, I went for blood test. And you never got to wait to stamp.
Okay.
Your paper to go up in the lab.
The lab, yes.
Yeah. So I was there. I went early enough. Met a lot of people there waiting. Well, afterwards I hear people started to shoot up the mouth and I started growing. One of them me tell me, Mr. Politics, calling about this now. Because they asked one the secretary over there. When the cashier gonna come? One of the secretary tell me that the cashier ain't gonna come. The cashier said she gonna be late this morning. And so people are waiting all after 8. Nobody started to get 10 to 8. And up in the lab room empty. We thought people supposed to go check the blood. I mean go check the test. And when you look now, a lady called the thing for the matron. Tell her she must send somebody down here now because nobody here at the cashier. And people down here and people arguing. People strooping up the tea, people going on with that kind of thing. And I believe that there's somebody seriously want to work. That person should have called whoever in charge and tell the person they're going to be late and they put somebody to supervise until they come. Not the people that wait. People said, oh, let's think after 5, minutes to 6, after 6, and nobody there to take the money
attend to them,
the paper to go up to check the blood pressure. And I believe that is something serious that the apartment's supposed to look into. We blaming government all the time. And then you was there cussing me and all, tell me, Mr. Politics, don't want you with that now. You take that. You know, a woman and I said that, hey, that have nothing to do with politics. Miss yours are, that have nothing to do with politics. You know?
Well.
So, but these are the things that, these are the simple things we could have trash out and come without talk about, we talk about government this and government that. Because if somebody want a job, then you want a job. But who in charge? Supposed to look into that matter. Okay then, Brother Blake.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you raised that point. We're going to make a comment on that after we take this other caller. Hello, caller.
Greetings.
Yes, man.
What date are we? In a couple of days, 2nd of November.
Today is Friday the 30th, yes.
Yeah, okay. The 2nd of November.
That's Monday.
The Black World observe and celebrate with the 90th. It would be the 90th anniversary of the crowning of emperor and empress in Ethiopia. 2nd of November 1930 took place. Crowning of His Imperial Majesty and Her Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I and Rosero Asfa I. Something like that never took place at all in the Black World. The crowning of emperor and empress. There has already been crowning of emperors, but His Imperial Majesty chose to be crowned at the same time with his wife and make her empress, So we are just encouraging the Black world to continually embrace such grand, majestic continental story,
Okay.
Very real and touchable. We have our royalty as African people, as black people. We need to have our royalty, and it's important to embrace it. Do you have any topic?
We have an open line today, Eli.
It's an open line.
Yeah, folks are talking about issues that concern them.
Beg pardon?
Folks are invited to discuss issues that concern them.
Okay. We have been listening to the reasoning concerning the bikes, If there is laws, the laws should be enforced, These youths who have such skill, because it is a skill, I can't do that, Who have such skill, they should be designated play areas for them to do those things, not just in the street like that, And if laws are there for them not to do so, the laws must be enforced, And if they continue, then, the penalty will be stiffer. And I don't think there should be no and talking about, government, blaming. I mean, no. As a matter of fact, someone reminded me some time ago that we are the government. The people in Church Street are just the administration that are there. So if we see these things as being hazard to the person themselves and to us as in general, we just make sure that we do the same thing with the littering. I'm not going to come up with the littering, And even though the government has put laws in place concerning littering, we continually ask them because we know the situation is not as it ought to be. We have a crisis with littering. And we're just imploring government, administration, to enforce the laws and to amend and to increase the laws if necessary, to make sure that littering is a no-no. It decrease until it becomes a no-no. People be afraid to litter, and right now they're unafraid. It's the same thing with the bike thing. The youths are doing this because we free them up to do so. And they just keep doing it. But the other thing we like to speak about quickly is the election, the U.S. election. It's sad to see that in spite of what our people of my race are going through in the USA, that it's sad to see them being part of parcel of the Westminster style political system that is going on there. The voting, etc., etc. It's very sad, It's very sad.
Yeah, but isn't that their right?
Beg pardon?
Isn't that their right?
Yes, of course,
exactly.
Of course. That's a right that has been pursued over the years too.
Right.
A lot of things has taken place to get that right. But I'm just looking at it. I'm just looking at it in a black view. The black view. I think that there should be some kind of ultimatum be given. Some kind of coming together. Malcolm X always talk about, separate the axis in the eyes of integrate, where black people in the US say, look, we are not going to, from black people who sweep the street right up to the intellectual, the poor right up to the millennials. We are not going to participate in this until embrace us with the same human vibration as embracing yourself in this white supremacist flexing. Yes, okay. I really think so.
Okay.
Yes, I mean,
yeah.
It's something like how blacks went to Vietnam.
Yeah, take another 60 seconds, Eli.
Okay. It's like how blacks went to Vietnam and returned and had to go through these drama because of the color of the skin. Are you with me?
I'm following,
yeah.
Definitely.
Blessed love. Give thanks for listening.
Alright, okay. Let's take another caller in the interim. Hello? Okay. We have another caller or we don't? Yes, we do. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Blake. To my good friend there, I am the person who remind you that the people is the government and the people in Church Street are the administrators. Now, I wanted to comment on a statement a lady made about Dr. Fosbury, and I think you should really jump on it,
I haven't had time
to say that he's saying put them on a ward until Monday. I mean, things like that is incorrect. If you are a specialist at the hospital and there's a medical emergency and you are home relaxing with your family and you get a call, you have to be there. So to make this statement to say, well, let them stay until Monday, well, is wrong. Right. People shouldn't do these things.
Okay.
Dr. Fosbury is there. He's alive. You could imagine he hearing something like this?
Actually, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I wanted to hear what you were saying.
No, because I have a number of responses I want to make, but there hasn't been time because the calls are coming in and I'm allowing the callers to intervene. But I have a couple of things I want to say.
Okay.
That is a comment I want to make.
I got you.
Yeah. So you're through? That's it? Hello? Okay, he's gone. We have another caller? One more? Okay, let's take this one and then we take a station break.
In the car, we won't be long. I want to thank that brother for doing I remember him reminding me that about the administration and the separate from the government. And I want to thank him for what he just said concerning Dr. Fosbury.
Yeah, okay.
Dr. Fosbury, yes. That man there is a different kind of man, you know? Yeah. I remember they used to call him Rasta man. No, he's a different kind of man. He won't do that. And we want to tell this issue no. Take back that. Just apologize for that, please.
Yeah, okay.
Make your comment, Mr. Blake. Blessed love. Make your comment.
Thank you. What we're going to do, we're going to take a station break. And when I come back, I'm going to make a couple of responses before I open the lines again.
ZIZ Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
We're dependable, so reliable. We're efficient and economical. We're the leaders, serving you faithfully. You can trust we are the best. Quality. All we wanna say is we're always affordable every day. DELTA. Delta Petroleum. We are the best in the Caribbean. Oh, Delta Petroleum. You know that we are your number one.
Some things in life are better together.
Like Kingston and Dancehall.
Like Sundays and streaming football.
Like secret texts between best friends.
No more limitations.
Like video chats with you and Granny on weekends.
Like a road trip and playing songs on loud.
For the community, we have a unity movement with a new energy. Digicel will bring together all the experiences you love. From the latest shows, sports, music, radio, breaking news to HD video chats, cloud storage, and more. The Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
At ZIZ, we want to take a moment to salute our small business owners and encourage you to support them. Our small business owners are always hard at work providing quality goods and services to you. They also provide employment for many and can be counted on to give back to our communities. Today and every day, we salute our small business owners and we say thank you for the opportunity to provide advertising services to you. If you're a small business, call us at 465-2621 to join our family of small business advertisers. Call us 465-2621. You'll be glad you did.
Okay, thank you. We're back with you on Frank and Candid for today, Friday. One caller chastised a previous caller for making certain comments, and his argument, before I take that call, I want to make a couple of responses. As I said, his argument was that at one point the lady was against a particular issue, a particular development, a particular act or action, and then later on she was saying something else. Just remind callers that people have a right to change their minds, and people are expected and should change their minds as they get new information and new knowledge. Okay, we make decisions by and large based on information we have available to us. When we get new information, as sensible people, as honest people, we should change our minds and revisit those decisions accordingly. So we need to recognize that. So if a person believes at a particular point in time that a certain action that another individual or government or business or school took, he or she has a right to change his mind if later on the circumstances change and the person gets new or correct information. The question of long lines at JNF has been a vexed and vexing one for years now, for ages. I think it started way back in 1900. All right. Certainly, it also is endemic in a number of government agencies where service is supposed to begin at 8 o'clock and as late as 8:30 at times, service is yet to begin to be dispensed. But of course, if they're supposed to close at 4, don't expect to go at a minute to 4 and be able to enter, because they're going to close for sure on the dot or before 4 o'clock. But when it comes to opening and starting service in a lot of government agencies in the public sector, we find that's an issue. You can't blame government all the time, because there are supervisors in every department. There are heads of department who are supposed to ensure that their subordinates turn up at work on time. And in a matter like the hospital, if one cashier cannot be there on time, then have a substitute. So this matter of waiting for long, that has happened to me too. I mean, every year when I go for my checkup and I go to the hospital to get my test done, I can't recall even one occasion when the line starts when the service begins at the hour it is supposed to. And elderly people who are not very strong, have to be there in line early, trying to beat the rush, as it were. And the service does not begin until 10, 15, half an hour later. It is the individual who is immediately supervising that worker who is supposed to ensure that does not occur. But it happens at the post office, it happens in a lot of government entities, including at the Ministry of Education, where I worked for many years. I hope that the situation has improved over time, and we hope that it will be eliminated altogether in the future. But it is definitely a matter with which we are not very comfortable. Now, with respect to the United States election, we've had so many people express vexation, anger with Donald Trump, and so they're vexed with him for being president. You know, when in fact they have to be vexed with the people who are putting him there. The man did not put himself there. So we cannot be upset with certain things that occur, because it is people who exercise their freedom, their right, without coercion, to create those kind of conditions. We have to remember that. With respect to Dr. Fosbury did a tremendous job while he was active here in St. Kitts. For many years he was the only surgeon, and so I cannot see any doctor who's taken an oath, we call it the Hippocratic Oath, whose duty is to heal, not to harm, to serve, to restore to life, to restore to good health, making a decision not to attend to an emergency, but directing that people remain wherever in pain and suffering for a day or a weekend, as the case may be. And not only that, but in a ward that is known to be one housing people with a very infectious and contagious disease. So I am not so sure if that is correct, and I'm questioning it myself. I do not have the facts at hand. So even if that happened on one isolated incident, we cannot use that to generalize, but I doubt that actually happened. But we know that there are times when persons would misconstrue, misinterpret a certain act or a particular development. Then it is correct, of course, that in a democracy the people are in fact the government. But because there is a need for leadership, we engage in what we call general elections, and we elect people, we choose people freely and fairly to lead us, and we trust them to make decisions that benefit the population at large. But being human, they're prone to make errors, they're prone to make mistakes, they're subject to all kinds of temptations, and you know, they sometimes might be influenced to do things which are not in the best interest of the people. But certainly government, when we speak of government, we like to be referring to the Prime Minister and his cabinet. But government really is represented and manifested in all the various institutions and government departments. So if something happens in the school, for example, in a school, you can't blame government, you have to blame the teachers and the principal, and maybe the education officer assigned to the school, and then the chief education officer and others along in the particular hierarchy. But because it's a government institution, we like to say government. But the teachers represent the government in that scenario. The principal represents the government. The education officers represent the government, and so on. So we need to do away with this tendency to blame the government as though the government is an abstract entity and does not have anything to do with us. All right? We, in fact, are the government. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Mr. Blake.
Yes, ma'am.
I come back on to correct what I said.
Right.
Listen here. I am not saying that Fosbury face to face tell the nurses them to put them down there until Monday.
Or whichever day. Mm.
Right, or whichever day. He was a A1. When I say A1 surgeon in the hospital, kudos to him. Everybody was for Fosbury and Dr. Rollins. But listen to me, you're going to get in 3 and 4 Friday night, you look after them. Saturday, you get in 3 Saturday night. I mean, that's how it goes down to Sunday. I had an uncle walking up here.
Yes, man.
I mean, that's how the Papa really used to go, you know, and people know it. It's not that he tell them put them down there till Monday, so they misunderstand what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's just that he go right down to Monday, they stay down there till Monday. Them who come in like Sunday night. I mean, they're human being. The doctor is human being. You just say Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Man, no man. You got to go back up there Sunday night again. In the midnight to go.
Okay.
To come in about midnight or after dance. And
But you did give.
But they have to stand till Monday.
You to be honest, you did give the impression that Dr. Fosbury gave a directive, an instruction, an order to put them.
That impression.
That's how it came across, honestly. So, in my view,
No,
and
when
in
I
the view of
take
others.
it back, I'm sorry.
Well, you're welcome. And that's a real woman.
Come in and I say he did not stand up to the nurses them face to face and tell them put them up there. It's
Right.
how he was working.
Understood. We understand your explanation and we appreciate it. That's a real woman who
Right.
would
But
apologize
listen,
for.
even to do normal surgery, he used to have his hand full. You understand?
Yeah, we know that.
And he was a hard working man. It's not that if that's how I said it, I take it back and I apologize.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I never meant it like that because listen, he's a good surgeon. Even though he's not a surgeon still, he is a good surgeon.
And
he's a good surgeon still.
You have improved yourself in the eyes of the eyes and ears of the listening public, the listening and viewing public, because you have called back to correct what was missed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
To go with the wrong idea.
That's right. Have a great weekend now. Okay, great. Let's take another caller. All right. They say the mark of a great person is one who's willing to accept his error and apologize. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Yeah, but wait.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we live in a small country. We got a police force and we got a different force. You understand? And you know that here in Point Noah, here like the other countries, and nobody why, nobody here.
Right.
You know, the different force and for years out there sitting down and have nothing to do. And I believe that if the government, any service sector, got a problem with robbing and stealing, look how they put the soldier up on the beer truck and he gets shot. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Because they are part of the security forces too. Because they ain't doing nothing. And if the government put them on a truck to protect the business, they get in there. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. Sometime in the week here, Sergeant Bogan was on.
Yes.
And someone called in and said that Sergeant Bogan have no call on the truck because he's not a security. He's a soldier and this and that, and you know.
Yes.
He got some people because they live in a big island. They live in a big country already. They feel like they know more than everybody. And they feel like this and they feel like this that. But we live in a small country.
No, but the person has the right to express his opinion.
No, I know that you right to express his own opinion. But this is actually a small country where the soldiers them up there doing nothing. Some people is and they don't want private security. Some police and they don't want private security and make them get a little pay. So I do not see nothing wrong with that. Because sometimes the soldiers them up there for years and have nothing to do. And if they find something extra to do and they go do it, I don't see no problem when they ask. Alright then.
Okay, good. And you're expressing your opinion and we respect that. That's how it goes. Okay? We have to let everyone express himself once he's doing it decently without hurting or harming anyone or slandering anyone. Let's take another caller. Okay. Yes?
Yes, greetings.
Yes?
Yeah, man, that's how it go, man. That's just how it go. The point I made, was pertaining to the presidency still,
I know, I realize that.
Yeah, because to be truthful, when he was campaigning in the first thing, me want him to be president, Yeah, me was in Jamaica. I remember Mutawu can be went on radio and say, yeah man, if we be president and they say we mad, they say we mad like him. But then he become president and it's not about him. It's about white America. It's about white racist America, right? When we made that point, Mm-hmm. We want to thank the sister. We overstand, and we want to thank the sister for what she just did. Because you see the nature of that man there. The nature of... I want to tell you a story. But before that, let me get to the long line. Me experience the long line touring up the hospital, especially my baby mother couple of 1978 to be exact. She developed a problem on the long line. Me get some mad that the doctor in charge was at the time. I think it was Dr. Kennedy Simon.
1978?
What you know? Dr. Ford, me the man free. Me still online?
Yes, of course.
Me the man the free the hospital, Free the hospital, and you see that same 1978 or 1977, because that man, the president in the hospital at the time, me go get circumcised, and it's him do it. And I want to tell you, things are happening some kind of way, because the same man who called police for me in the hospital before, give me the injection to send me from myself. to get the circumcision, And if that man there, if that the nature of that man, Dr. Fosbury, make me decide to go in the hospital, take that circumcision and remain in the hospital for a couple of days to recuperate, even though they say I could come up, me decide to stay inside there. And him really want me in such a way that man is that man there, yes. So give thanks to sister, because that man is a different kind of man, me not watch the color of his skin. His Majesty, I'll say all that, until the color of man's skin and color of the man's eyes is of no significance, because it's all about the human race,
Right.
Everyone to their own fiction, everyone respecting and loving everyone. That's where it boils down to,
Yeah, but Eli, remember that there were people, white people, very white-skinned people, who fought actively and tenaciously for the end of the abolition of the slave trade and the end of slavery.
Yes, it happened.
Definitely, we can't deny that.
No.
There were white people marching with Martin Luther King.
Yes.
So, that point needs to be, people need to be reminded of that from time to time.
Of course. In the color of skin right now.
Exactly.
Even though you hear me talk about white America, we got people in America who, they're not in them thing there. But no, they're not in that. But, them make it, the true, I mean, I tell you, it's a funny thing, but good over evil, Good over evil, and every evil data for root over the white people are black people.
Exactly, that is it.
Me have a Rastaman, me channel, bring in a cat, I bring him in the extermination to the oppressors, to people who evil in the earth, no matter your color, your skin, you go black like tar, you go white like...
Yeah, and you have 60 seconds more, because we're getting close to the end.
No, be gone, blessed love.
Okay. Alright, anybody else calling, please limit it to 1 minute. Hello, caller.
Okay, good day, Mr. Lake.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, 1 minute. But I'd like to give a different perspective on how we interact with government and its services.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we have we are encouraged by politicians in particular who want to make themselves look good and brandish their power to come to them directly, okay? Go straight to the top and bypass the chain of administration. Yes, sometimes things need to be escalated, but initially we should always go towards, go up the chain as opposed to bypassing.
Starting at the top?
Yes. Hello?
As opposed to starting at the top?
Yes, as opposed to starting at the top. It's a bad habit that we've been given. I mean, even you hear it on talk shows all the time, right? If somebody have a problem, go and call the Prime Minister. For what? That should not be. But like I said, it's encouraged at the top. And, we're going to have to go through a whole lot of re-education to know about how things should be escalated, right? That's just my input.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That is true. We need to follow the hierarchy. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Mr. Blake, I want to respond to my good friend Culture, because he made a statement, and we just keep going down this road. Now he's saying that the soldiers is up there ain't doing nothing. That's their job. Next thing he gonna tell you the firefighters up there ain't doing nothing, so they should go and do something to do. You know, that's not how it works. Police and defense force soldiers are not security guard. You ever see a security guard patrolling up and downtown? Security is a stationary post. And that's the point I was making about Borgan. That should have never happened to him. If whichever agency was wanted the security to be on the truck, that's where they should have gone, not the defense force. Thank you.
You're welcome. Although we must admit that at the time, we did not have the proliferation of security agencies that we have now. Okay, but I understand the angle which this guy is taking. Let's take another call.
Okay, good. That's the last call. You know me agree with that virgin there? Borgan, sure. Rasta virgin Borgan, you know you're Rasta man, you know, just like the jewelry virgin. You should have never be panda work there. Be serious about it. That education need to be part and parcel also of the Prime Minister's office. What the point that made earlier, that re-education need to be part of the Prime Minister's office also. See me? Yeah, definitely. Yes, it would be part and parcel of the Prime Minister's office to educate people in their way of thinking concerning government and Prime Minister and who head them from who come first from who come last. See me? Yeah. Blessed love.
Yes, sir.
Nothing to laugh, it's serious.
Thank you. Yeah, well, alright, because someone smiles or laughs does not mean he does not recognize or acknowledge the seriousness of an issue. In fact, sometimes it is because of the gravity of the matter which exacts a smile on the face of the individual, because, you know, sometimes that's the best way to deal with it. We have another caller? Okay, well, I think we're going to call that George in terms of calls. So we have one more. Let's take him before we begin to wind down. Hello, caller.
Hey, Brother Blake.
Yes, sir.
Yes. No, we know that our border is going to be open tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, but we kind of...
Right.
Yeah.
And from the moment Mr. Corona come worldwide, global, we've been getting advice from all over the world what to do to help to resist Mr. Corona. And everything is based on cleanliness. Now I know there is an individual who condemns everything in the world that is right. But like the Bible says in Matthew 7:5, "O hypocrite, first take the beam out of your eye, then you're going to see clearly to take the mote out of your brother's eye." Cleanliness and everything start at home. And such individual, they resident in such a dilapidated state that all the orphanages, if they happen to go by that individual place, the book will run out of summons. Imagine a man up in a breadfruit tree that hang over that individual residence. And when the man cut two breadfruit off the limb, one of them jump in on the roof, broke in the roof, and the breadfruit went in here, knock out the man in there on the bed. How that individual keep his place in such a dilapidated and not obeying the protocols. Keep your place clean. The cleaner your place is the less you would get sick. So that's all I have to say. When we're going to talk about people and tell people that this is bad and that ain't no good and you don't have no facts, start in your yard. Thank you, Brother Blake.
Thank you. That's the last call we'll entertain for today and for the week. You know, that's a matter I've been debating within myself for a number of years. Because a fellow is a thief, does that mean he has no right to admonish others not to steal? Because a fellow tells lies, his advice to others not to lie is lessened. We like to speak about having moral authority to do this and to do that. But it's something I haven't yet decided on, I haven't arrived at a conclusion. Because if a guy keeps his premises dirty, which he shouldn't, everybody knows, does that mean he shouldn't be telling others not to keep their place dirty? I don't know. We can probably discuss that another time. Because the content of the advice, the soundness of the advice, the quality of the advice cannot be impugned, cannot be challenged. The question is, because it comes from an individual who's practicing the same, who's not taking the same advice, who's not practicing the same advice that he's given, one might argue that its worth is diminished. And the Bible is correct, of course. You should, in fact, take the mote out of your eye, out of your own eye, before you can attempt to take it out of somebody else's. And that is physically very practical advice, because, hey, how are you going to see well enough to take out that one if one is in your eye, preventing you from having 20/20 vision? So we can discuss that later. In any event, thanks a lot for being part of Frank and Candid for this week. It was my pleasure to be here. I enjoyed the conversations. I learned a lot. And looking forward to continuing next month, in the month of November. Until such time, please, as we open the borders, let us practice what we ought. Let us do what is right. Because only when we do that, we will be able to remain safe. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. See you next week.